Hey folks, Machinery Pete here. I'm up near Menomonie, Wisconsin, and you can tell, folks, I found something amazing here. There's actually an online auction coming up August 22nd. My friend Barry Hager with Hager Auction. This is the Don Fanetti's world famous collection of Allis tractors, and who we have here is Chris Liebel. And Chris, I appreciate you coming out to tell us about the tractors. And you actually worked with Don many years and were his farm manager?
Yep, from 1990 on. Yep.
Okay. And Chris, you're an Illinois guy? You grew up?
Grew up in Illinois. Yep, moved here when I was about 30, so that was a little while ago.
Okay.
So.
How did you get connected with Don?
We actually were selling some parts, John Deere parts, which didn't fit in with Don real well, but sold some parts to Don, a plow bottom and a few other things we sold to his brother-in-law, hauled it up to him. One thing led to another and ended up coming up here to manage and run his farm. So.
Okay, and that was late 80s?
That was actually the fall of '89. I came up and harvested some crops and moved here in March of '90.
Okay,
so.
and Don Fanetti, Don passed away?
2009.
2009,
yeah.
Okay. And over the years, how did Don's collection of Allis Chalmers, how did this start?
Well, you know, I think he just started buying a few here and there, and he was associated with Allis through his dad on their home farm in Bloomer, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And so they've been around Allis's quite a bit, so he just started buying kind of what he wanted, and he brought them up to the shop, and we would work on them and put them together and paint them up and go through them, and started the collection. So.
Wow. And I understand you guys worked with an Allis Chalmers mechanic over the years a lot too?
Yes, we had a neighbor, Doug Miller, who actually worked down at the local O&R equipment, and he did all the mechanic and motors and clutches and transmissions and stuff like that.
And folks, as we look down the line here, we're going to do a little walk and talk with Chris, but Don was not buying tractors with 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 hours and restoring. You were looking and finding, for the most part, really low-houred.
Well, for my stake, less work, but you know, clean, low-houred tractors that we could, you know, put in a collection.
Right. Well, Chris, we have to walk back and start with the world-famous Allis 6070, the very last one off the assembly line. Is that right?
That's correct. The last one ever made. Yeah.
All right. Let's go take a look.
Okay.
Okay, Chris. Now, people have heard about this tractor, 1985 Allis 6070. Let's get in for a little closer look here, and you tell us about this. How many hours on this tractor?
I believe it has 29 hours on it.
29 actual hours?
Yep. We just kind of drove it around the farm a little bit to keep it running and lubed up, and it's been here for a long time. Okay.
Now, you were telling me there's some telltale little signs that kind of give away, you know, right when Allis, the very last ones they made. Why don't you tell us about how we can tell on this tractor?
Well, when Deutz bought out Allis Chalmers, the last tractors, they went and put decals, and even had their dealers go and put decals on the light tractors, and also changed the front emblem on the front.
Okay.
And so you've got, you know, a couple different things here.
Well, here's the emblem.
Light tractor.
And this is what Deutz did when they.
Right.
Okay. And now show us. Let's get a closer look at the Deutz Allis here. You said that's actually a sticker they put.
That's actually a decal put over the original Allis Chalmers decal.
Okay. And then take us around back, Chris. I understand there was some a note put on.
Well, this is you know, appeared in Norm Swinford's book and stuff, and it just shows you that it was written on there that this is the last off the line, and it was the held 12/6 at 85.
Okay. Okay, so 29 hours. I got to come back here and take a look at it again, Chris. But why don't you, or how did you use it? You put a few hours on it over the years?
Well, you know, we kind of kept them clean and drove them around and ran them up and down the road just to keep them kind of lubed up and stuff. And
right.
Really didn't do anything with it except just kind of keep them running orders.
Okay. And did you guys take this? I understand you. A couple times you went over to Orange Spectacular in Hutchinson, Minnesota?
Yeah, it's been to a few shows. We've taken it 3-4 different places.
Okay.
You know, which always draws a pretty big crowd.
You bet. Well, there again, folks, the last Allis Chalmers off the line, 6070, 85 model, 29 hours, up for sale August 22nd. Now, Chris, we have an amazing line here. Let's just walk down. You tell us about some of these tractors. How about the 7010 here?
Well, we were working on the 7000 series. We basically picked this up at O&R Equipment, came in as a trade.
Okay.
You know, went through it, sandblasted it, painted it, new interior. Just basically went through the whole tractor to add to our 7000 series.
Okay. And here we'll pan down the line, folks. And isn't that a beautiful sight, this line of Allis Chalmers tractors? Unlike any I've seen. Okay, so now we have a 7045, Chris.
The 7045 was actually bought by Don Fanetti's brother, Daryl Fanetti. We kind of found out that it was for sale. It had some issues. We went and picked the tractor up just because it was an original Fanetti tractor,
okay,
and went through it, restored it, and put it back to its original glory there.
And Daryl was farming up in the Menomonie area
And still farms up by the Bloomer area.
Bloomer, okay, got it. And am I hearing the story right that when Don's father, when his first tractor was a WD-45?
You know, I'm not positive on that, but I know he had Allis tractors, and that's how Don got familiar with the Allis tractors.
Okay. So 7080 next. Now tell us about this one,
This
Chris.
tractor, actually, we did not restore. It was done down in Don's shop,
Okay.
down in Franklin, Wisconsin, where he did trucking and stuff. And this is one of the first cab tractors that Don had, so it kind of came out of there. You know, we used it for blowing silage and a few other things. But,
Stadium lights.
yeah, a couple extra sets of stadium lights there. So
Awesome.
makes the alternator whine, I think.
Yeah, there you go.
Put it on there.
Wow. And right next to a two-wheel 8010.
Yep, these are tractors that, you know, we were going to use for cultivating. They had long axles. Kind of went through the tractors. Both these tractors had their motors done and stuff. Have, you know, a little more hours on them and stuff, but still nice, clean tractors.
When you say a little more hours, roughly.
Oh, you know, you're probably looking at, you know, 3,000 to 4,000 hours. I guess I'd have to look at the other side by the oil
That's
filter.
still pretty low, Chris.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, and they do have new motors, and they've kind of been through. So.
It does have a new motor.
Yeah, both of
Okay,
these
okay.
have been through. Yeah.
And the 8030, is this the experimental?
No, this is just another 8030 two-wheel drive that we used for cultivating,
Okay.
and then eventually moved up to some bigger tractors for cultivating
Okay.
and stuff. So. 8050 Don bought new. We used for basically for chopping,
Okay.
and we were chopping with it. We had some overheating issues and ended up hurting the motor. So this one we put a new motor in too.
Okay.
So, but you know, fairly low-hour tractor.
And Don bought it brand new.
Yep, bought it new.
Okay. Now here we have the experimental, right?
This is the one that we put together parts. Did this right away when I first moved up in, I think, 91, something like that, 92. Kind of had a bunch of parts that Don had purchased through Allis Chalmers, so we had cabs and a bunch of other stuff, and so we extended out the front end, bringing it forward about 10 inches, put an Allis Chalmers motor in, an 8070 motor, put a new power shift in it, so just kind of fabbed it up and made
And I
it.
love even the detail here, folks. You can tell the attention to detail. Look at our 8070 experimental right there. Very cool. How was it working on this thing? Was it a challenge?
It really wasn't too bad. I had a farm guy that kind of helped me. He was pretty mechanical. And really, you know, when you have another tractor to sit alongside of it, you can kind of make them notes and put it together. It went together pretty good. And like I said, Doug helped us quite a bit too. So.
Well, just a beautiful job. How many hours on this one roughly, Chris?
I think it's got about 300 or something like that on it.
300 total? Since you?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, folks, now we've drifted into the four-wheel drive category here. And boy, these things always attract a lot of interest. Chris, why don't you tell us about the 4W220?
Well, this is a tractor that Don picked up out of Illinois.
Okay.
It was a planter tractor used just for planting down there. Of course, the 4W220s, there wasn't a lot made, I believe 179, something like that. The 8070 was giving us some competition. It was quite a bit less money, so they didn't produce a lot of 4W220s. But kind of a neat little tractor to drive around, kind of hard to come by, but kind of a cool little tractor, and it's got about 3,800 hours on it.
Is that 3824 on the?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Very cool. What do we have next door to it?
Next to it is an original 4W305.
We have two 4W305s here?
Yes, one is the original one, and one is a conversion with a Cummins motor in it.
And this is the original?
This is the original with the dual stack and the Allis motor in it.
How many hours roughly?
We'll have to look. You're quizzing me kind of hard for how many tractors you got.
I'm making you work, Chris.
Yeah. This one has 1,708 hours. Yeah.
Total original
Total
hours.
hours. Yeah.
Wow.
And then this tractor, you know, I think the hours are the motor hours, and I think it's got 300 and some hours or something.
And so, like, what year did you guys? This 4W.
Well, we actually used, you know, these 4Ws and stuff up to, well, we had Farm Progress in '89, so we probably used it up to, 98. We used them up till probably 98, something like that.
Okay. Okay. Well, I don't see too many 4W305s, so to see two of them right next to each other, really something here, folks. It's so fun. Did you have any favorites of the modern Allis Chalmers yourself, Chris?
Oh, you know, I kind of thought the 220 was cool, the 4W 220. I just like the baby four-wheel drive for some reason of the newer series.
And that was one, there was under 200 of those?
Yeah, like 179 or something like that.
Okay. Well, folks, then we'll go to the longer row of equipment here. A couple parts tractors down here on the end.
Yep, a couple parts tractors, you know, picked up that, you know, we can always use them for fixing things. I guess this 7060 was next to the 7000s to be gone through. It's a good runner and stuff, just, you know, just then never got to it. So.
Right. Okay, and then we have, we got some G's here.
Yeah, there's a couple G's. One's restored, of course, which came from our neighbor Wagner. Actually, is a completely rebuilt tractor, and it's all powder coated. It's actually not paint. So before he had passed, he had wanted us to add it to the collection. So when they had his sale, we picked it up. So.
And Chris, I would imagine over the years, as word of your collection, you and Don, what you were doing here and collecting, did some of these tractors kind of start to chase you guys?
Well, they did. You know, they knew we were looking for low-hour tractors, and they would give us a call and say, "Hey, we're going to get rid of it. You know, are you interested?" And we would. So.
Okay.
And, well, style WC.
WC, beautiful tractor. And would Don buy a lot of them at auction or private or kind of mixture?
Well, you know, so he would drive around. If he saw them, he'd pick them up, you know, if they were a clean tractor. And a lot of private stuff mostly, but, you know, he'd buy them from a dealer. Not too much for an auction, a little bit.
Sure. And WD-45?
Yeah, WD-45 we use quite a bit for raking hay and doing quite a bit of that stuff.
Okay. Oh, 220, these are fun. Got two of them. Why don't you tell us about them, Chris?
Well, this one's kind of rare because they only made about 100 of them. You know, a factory front wheel assist tractor, mechanical. But Don kind of wanted to make them look a little hot roddy and a little big tires on them, so we kind of gave them that big, tough-looking tractor pulling attitude there.
Plus, they got a lot of comments on these over the years, I bet, huh, Chris?
Oh yeah, quite a bit, and they're kind of fun to drive. They're pretty snappy.
Right. You know how many hours on the pair of 220s?
I'd have to crawl up there and take a look.
I'll check them on the sale bill. We'll drop in that on the video here, but
you know, I don't know if these has the hours on the.
Okay. And then we have a 210.
Yep, we have a 210, which was the economy tractor of the 220, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, it had the different front end, more like a 190.
Okay.
No battery boxes. I'm not sure they would have had fender skirts on them neither, but you know, you can kind of see between the two tractors. It was kind of like a more economy tractor, a little cheaper to buy.
And were there low hours on this one? I can't remember, Chris.
Yeah, I think these are, you know, they're not real low hours, but they're not bad. This one has 2,400 hours. I guess you consider that low hours.
Chris, when you say, let me tell you,
I'm thinking 7,000, 8,000 hours.
That's low hours, buddy.
2,450 on this one.
And those are original hours?
Yeah.
So again, that's what you guys were kind of looking for the night. Yeah.
You know? I know I'm jumping around now.
No, it's good. We want to tell folks what we got here.
This one has 3170.
3170.
Yeah.
So folks, not just one of the more eye-catching collections of Allis Chalmers tractors you'll ever see, but but low original hours here. And of course, boy, D21 here, Chris.
Yeah, this actually was one of the neighbors' tractors, and we picked it up in pieces. Doug Miller rebuilt the whole thing.
Well, wait a minute. What do you mean you picked it up in pieces?
Well, it had blown up, had some motor issues, and had some other issues. So we basically picked it up in pieces, brought it back, and rebuilt the whole thing. Doug Miller went through it, heavy throw crank, and we did the motor, and of course blasted it all up and put all new parts on it and painted her up.
Now, Chris, tell us what it feels like when you take a tractor that's destroyed like that, blown up, and make it like this again. What does that feel like?
Well, I think you're saving something. No matter what you're restoring, whether it's a car or a tractor or whatever, it's kind of nice to bring it back to life. I mean, that's kind of the goal, I guess.
Right. Well, you did a beautiful job. That is a Sharp D21, folks. Again, for sale August 22nd, Hager Auction, and a 200 here. Very cute. You've got the cab going.
Yep, that's kind of the first attempt at a cab, I think, there by Allis there, and nice clean tractor.
Was Don, in terms of all the different models, Chris, was it always a thing for him to find the one he didn't have, or was that not so much?
Well, I think we were trying to get the series. I mean, we have all the D series, and we kind of were moving into the numbered series, and then.
Okay, Chris, I understand super low hours on 185 and 175 here.
Yep, the 185 picked it up as a really nice clean tractor. It's got about 2,600 hours on it.
Wow.
And then the 175 actually came out of Illinois.
Okay.
He had purchased two 175s new. One he used as a primary tractor, one was a secondary tractor. And this has got like 693 hours or something on this tractor.
Under 700 actual hours?
Of this tractor,
Man.
yep. And really all it really needed was, I think we put some front weights on it and, cleaned it all up and painted it, but, that's like a new tractor.
And I think the 180, we've got 3,600 plus hours.
Yep, so we used that. We had our TMR and we had our cattle. We used that every day, so
Okay.
didn't hold up too bad, I guess.
Held up extremely well. The 170, low hours here again, Chris?
Yep, I think on the 170, maybe you remember this day. Yeah, 1,830 hours. So
1,830.
low for a 170.
Wow. And we have D19, a couple 17s.
Yep, we got a couple 17s, and then we go into the row of 15s.
Okay.
There's a 15 diesel, which is kind of rare. You don't run across them real.
And that's the
real
first
often.
one here.
Yep, the first one. Yep.
We getting some calls on that one, Chris?
Have gotten a few calls on it. A lot of people stop. They're kind of intrigued with that, I guess. And they're like 1,700 hours and
My goodness.
1,500 hours. And the next D15 is right down there. I think that one was what, six something.
The third one? Yeah, let's check. Let's have you check the numbers on it. I think it was this third one that was the lowest.
We got too many.
No, you don't have too many, Chris.
Yeah, 1,340 some hours.
1340 original hours on a D15.
And that came from one of the neighbors that came by and just
Okay.
thought we had to have it, so we did.
Nice. And then what do we got to complete? Another D15? And
Another
then,
D15, the earlier series, of course. It's not a Series 3. And then a
D14?
14, and we put them all back to the authentic colors. Everything is the way the rims were painted, and you can see there's a color change there
Oh.
between the 14s and the 15s. And then the D10 and 12, we got a lot of interest in those.
Okay. Well,
Little
Chris,
finish mower.
so where's your emotions? Where's your heart at here as you, I mean, obviously all the years working with Don,
Yep.
collecting, and now the sale coming up. I mean, it must be kind of exciting and
It's kind of exciting and kind of sad to see them go, but
Right.
they are a lot of work. I mean, it takes a
Right.
lot to keep 50 tractors going, and you do need to run them and drive them around and keep the fluids moving around in them, and so
and I would imagine hopes for the buyers on these tractors will care and love for them.
well, I
like you
hope they
guys.
do. Yeah, a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort. We tried to do one or two every winter, but you're looking at a lot of hours and a lot of time and a lot of money spent to redo them. So.
Right. Well, Chris, thank you so much for telling us about the tractors and telling us about Don and how this all got started. And boy, what an honor to be here to see these tractors. And again, thanks for sharing your knowledge.
You're welcome.
Okay, Chris, off in the corner of the shed here, a 440. Why don't you tell us about this baby?
Well, these were actually produced by Steiger for Allis Chalmers, painted up and sold through Allis. So it's actually a Steiger tractor, but you know it was on our list of something to restore. But it's a good running little tractor, and you know at the time that's what they were doing before they moved into the 7,000 and 8,000 series articulated tractors.
Okay.
So.
Now again, the standards that you and Don, when you were looking for tractors, you weren't just buy anything.
Well, when he was out looking, he was looking for something that was clean, not all banged up, preferably low hours. You know, something that was running, something that was you know worth restoring, I guess you would say. So.
Very cool. And the combine is also, the L3 is also on the
Yep,
sale?
Don bought that new. That was the first combine we ran in the farm in 1990 on, and until we moved up to the newer series.
Okay. So fond memories of the first combine there?
Well, yeah, it took a little bit for me to get used to after coming from a different brand, but it did a nice job, and it's low hour, it still combine a lot. So.
Very good. Hey folks, Machinery Pete here, and I'm with Todd Fanetti. And Todd, it was your Uncle Don with the amazing collection here. When you look at all these Allis Chalmers tractors, Todd, what goes through your head thinking about your Uncle Don?
Well, just how he really appreciated the tractors, and he took a lot of pride and honor in them, and he loved to show them off.
Right. Now, I understand would be your grandfather, Todd, that maybe had a WD-45. Was that maybe the start of the Allis Chalmers?
Yes, I believe it is.
Okay. What was your grandfather's name?
Tony,
Tony. And did he live right around this part of Wisconsin, Menomonie?
he lived in Bloomer.
Oh, Bloomer.
Yep,
Okay. How far is Bloomer from Menomonie?
about 35 miles.
35 miles. So, as your Uncle Don was building this collection, what did you think over the years as this just kept growing and growing?
Well, I thought it was fantastic that he could accumulate all these tractors and
Right.
and go through them in detail, and it was just a beautiful thing.
What do you think about your uncle made him start collecting and then take it to the extent that he did?
Well, it's something that he grew up with, and he liked the Allis Chalmers tractors, and
Right.
and I guess he just just something that he was passionate about.
Right.
So
Right. And Allis Chalmers in Wisconsin here, iconic brand in the state. I suppose that played a part of it maybe too. Wisconsin pride.
sure, exactly.
Very cool. And now you were kind of in the trucking business. Were you in the business with your Uncle Don, or?
No, we weren't. We had a trucking business out of Bloomer, Wisconsin.
Okay. And you farm these days, Todd?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We farm here in Menomonie, Wisconsin, right here at the farm where the tractors are currently held.
Okay. So did you got to run some of the tractors over the
Sure,
years then?
sure.
Did you have a favorite?
Yes, I do. I have a 190 Allis. That's one that I was kind of brought up with on
Nice.
a home farm, the Fanetti home farm.
Okay.
So that's one tractor that I'm keeping for myself.
Nice. What are your favorite memories out on the 190?
Oh, just spending long hours in the field, working up ground mainly. So, yeah.
Well, Todd, thank you so much for telling us about your Uncle Don and the amazing collection here. And again, the open house before the auction, folks, on August 22nd. Come out and see this collection. It's just fantastic. And thanks again, Todd.
Sure. Thank you.
Hey, folks. I'm here with Barry Hager with Hager Auction Service. Barry, thanks for letting me know about this auction you're having August 22nd. This is amazing. How long you been in the business, Barry?
I've been in the business for 40 years. My dad started it probably about 47 years ago, and as soon as I got out of high school, I worked with him for several years, but personally been an auctioneer for 40 years.
Okay. Well, Barry, 40 years in the business here in western Wisconsin. You have a great reputation, a great job. I know you've sold some amazing equipment. We filmed for our TV show a year ago, some great green paint you sold, but
That's correct.
What would you say about a collection like this?
I think when they called me, I walked in the door and I wasn't at their Farm Progress days back in, I believe, '98.
Okay.
But it's like, I've never seen anything like it. Nothing like it. And like I said, I've seen and sold just about everything under the sun, literally.
One thing to see, and it's totally fun to see a line of restored tractors, but to have the original hours so low on so many of these tractors.
Right, especially for their age, totally unheard of, especially in today's world.
And then of course we have our world famous 6070, the last tractor that Allis Chalmers made.
Right.
That doesn't come along every day, a chance to sell something like that.
I would say like never. That's where we got the word museum quality. A tractor like that is priceless.
Right. And Fanetti, Don Fanetti, well known throughout the collecting community. So I mean this, and I understand even a month out from the sale, when you first listed on your website, you began getting calls from all over the country.
As soon as I put it on my website, word of mouth, via email, whatever, it was unbelievable the amount of calls we've had even to date from literally, without exaggeration, 15 or 16 different states from all walks of life.
And at this point, when we're filming this, we're like 3 weeks out from the sale. So
That is correct.
wow. Now it's an online only sale, correct, Barry?
That's correct.
August 22nd.
Yes,
Folks go to HagerAuction.com.
that is correct. We have an open house on the 20th, Saturday right before,
Okay.
and the 21st also on Sunday,
Okay,
for
so
anybody that wants to look.
the Saturday before the sale, that's August 20th.
That is correct. From 10 to 4, there's an open house. And on Sunday, I believe it's from 1 to 4.
Okay, folks, get yourself up here to the just north of Menomonie, just to look at these tractors. Just outstanding. And Barry, any other thoughts on this unique sale you have coming up?
Well, for me personally, it's obviously a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. We're glad to have the opportunity to work with these people. They're good people, they're honest people and straightforward. And if you're any kind of tractor lover of any color, when you walk in here, you can't help but appreciate what they've compiled. And just literally a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity
And,
for anybody.
Again, with those low hours and professionally restored, and to be able to say you own a tractor from the Fanetti collection. That's a unique opportunity.
That's very unique and could add to wherever it goes to whomever owns it.
Right. Well, Barry, you've done a heck of a job with the sale here. I can't wait to see how it goes. And I think you're going to have crowded open house days here.
I sincerely hope so.
Well, thanks again for telling us about the auction, Barry.
Not a problem. My pleasure.
Okay, folks, more than just the amazing Allis Chalmers tractor collection on the sale here, August 22nd. Look around the shed here, Don Fanetti, just amazing equipment. And we've got Chris, farm manager here, and Tim, and once again, Tim, help me with your last name.
Persac.
Persac, okay, with Hager Auction. And this forest chopper, this New Holland 900, why don't you tell us about it, guys?
Well, I guess I'll go first.
You go ahead, Chris, yeah.
We actually ran this, we only raised about 100 steers a year, but we ran this for probably 5-6 years, about 50 acres, so not a lot of use. Same way with the chopper boxes and the rest of our hay equipment.
And Chris, did you say you never actually had a corn head on this chopper?
Never actually have ran the corn head ever, so the corn head's brand new, so.
Wow. And Tim, you've sold tons of
Oh.
forage equipment over the years. I mean,
This
Literally.
is the top 10% or top 1% that you're never going to find for a 900 New Holland chopper. Knives are not ever touched and set up. Original knives in this chopper. Absolutely immaculate chopper.
kind of feels like a privilege or kind of a find to run across something like this
Yes,
these days.
it
doesn't
is. Just a rarity. Very, very rare to run across something.
And right behind the chopper here, Chris, we have something, you were teasing me, but I do not see this every day.
I asked you if you knew what that was, but it's an edible bean combine. We used it for when we grew dark red kidney beans. so.
Okay. The Bean King, where's that made?
I believe it's made out in New York.
Okay.
Sold around here by Doan's down here. They are the dealer for them.
So folks, if you need a used edible bean combine, here we have the Bean King 666 up for sale August 22nd. And as we scan around the machinery shed here, I know that truck down there just looked beautiful. What else jumps out at you guys?
Well, I think that's about it in here. In the other shed, we have a couple other trucks and forklifts and quite a few things. And I guess if you go to the website, you'll see it all listed, but
Right.
at Hager Auction Services. But
Yep. And
quite a
Tim,
bit of
that-
nice, clean machinery.
Very clean. And again, Tim, that's hagerauction.com.
That is hagerauction.com, yep.
Online auction, August
Online
22nd.
only, online only auction, August 22nd.
And
Starting
on
to
that-
close at 8 o'clock.
The bids close
6
at
o'clock, excuse me, 6 o'clock,
6 p.m.
6 p.m. that evening.
Is there extended bidding?
Yes, we have a soft close on that extended bidding, so yes, there will
Okay.
be.
There you go, folks, August 22nd. HagerAuction.com, all those amazing Allis Chalmers tractors and a great, super clean line of farm machinery.